What's up, guys? Brandon One here. It is the Midwest Swing podcast. Midwest Swing is catching up with the catcher. This is Chris Gimenez. How's it going, man?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good. 6-4 road trip.
Yeah.
Go through LA, Seattle, and then go through. Who am I missing here? We just came home.
San Francisco.
San Fran. Yeah. We don't go out there very much. So obviously one of the coolest parks to play in. But what was the vibe? Obviously, you guys are taking care of business on the road. Another really strong road trip. What goes into that? I mean, you guys just going on, it's kind of who you're playing, or what's it all about?
We've actually been kind of joking around about that. We don't really know why we've been winning on the road and not maybe necessarily at home as much as we have on the road. It's just kind of been one of those funny things. That's the way it's worked out, and we just kind of chalk it up to that. We just kind of laugh about it. Actually, like we're like the best road team in baseball, but we're the worst home team in baseball. It's funny how that works out. Normally, it's supposed to be the other way around.
What's it like to see Seattle? It was like 7 games in 10 days or something. Like, so I think today is actually Mejia Gallardo all over again. Right?
Exactly.
What's that
that was
like?
the either second to last day or last day
yeah.
we played there.
Yeah. So I mean, is it weird to have that kind of a matchup where in such close proximity, you're seeing a pitcher again, and you're seeing matchups that you might have to kind of combat as a catcher, especially if you're calling a game from Mejia, you might have to change it up a little bit. What's that like?
Actually, it's a little bit easier, to be honest with you. Usually within 3 or 4 days, not much has changed from a defensive catching standpoint, necessarily game calling. We might have to make a few more in-game adjustments just based off of the adjustments they're trying to make off of him. But really, it's kind of the same game plan. He threw a really, really good game against them last Saturday, and I think they're just going to attack essentially the same exact way they did on Saturday, and then just try to make them make the adjustment against us.
So we all know it's draft season. You went twice, 34th round in 2001,
34th, and then the 19th.
The 19th round in 2004, the same year I went undrafted. So anyway, Rockies, and then Cleveland. What was your draft experience like? What was your draft story? Because when I used to interview guys, I would talk to them like Ben Revere as a rookie. Right. Hey man, what was it like to be drafted by the Twins and tell, I don't know if it was Vanderbilt or not coming, whatever. Right. What was that like the first and then the second time? Like, did you ever get close to signing first of all with the Rockies?
Believe it or not, I didn't really play my senior year of baseball. I got hurt in basketball. I was a basketball player, 6-foot white center. That's why I'm currently not playing basketball. But yeah, I was the only all-league center in our league, though.
Crazy.
3 guys go D1.
You like Mark Manson, like effort guy?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like the white Dennis Rodman is what I was.
Whoa.
Essentially, I mean, basketball-wise, not like off the field stuff.
Who does your hair? I'm just kidding, man.
That's probably the reason I'm bald now. But I was hurt, so I didn't really get to play my senior year.
Yeah.
A lot of it was based off of the travel ball team I was on. I was lucky enough to make the All-State team, and I had a bunch of scouting kind of done from those 2 tournaments, I guess you could say. But I ended up still getting drafted in the 34th round. It was pretty cool. My dad and my uncle were sitting at home and actually drinking a beer. I don't know if I can probably say that on the we're all red-blooded Americans, right?
Yeah.
So, but I was at school. I had a free 6 period as my senior year in high school. I'm on my way home, and I'm coming out of our high school parking lot. I've got my 3 high school teammates coming in, and they see my truck leaving, and they're like screaming, jumping up and down at me. They had found out that I had no idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not like MLB Network these
right.
days.
Right. We didn't have any of that back then.
Well,
I didn't even have a cell phone.
The 34th isn't on TV either.
Exactly. Right. I didn't even have a cell phone then. So
What was that, 1997?
it was pretty close. Yes. Not too far off.
Peanut Gallery.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Some nice best friend you are. Number 7 on the list. Yeah. So I'm actually going out of the parking lot. They're coming in. And they went to the local sports store and bought all kinds of Rockies gear and were like showing it to me, and I'm like, what in the world's going on here? So I pull off to the side of the road, they jump out like, you're just going to draft by the Rockies. I thought they were joking, and I drove home, and my dad and my uncle were high-fiving me, giving me a bunch of hugs and stuff, saying I just been drafted. I actually played for the Rockies scout team, and the same scout that I played for in my junior year of high school is the one who ended up drafting me. And they had known that I already committed to go to the University of Nevada, and I was giving it a lot of consideration, even though my dad would have never let me. My mom and dad were big on me making a commitment to go to school, and looking back on it, I think, honestly, it was the best decision for me at the time.
So I was getting drafted a second time. somehow less thrilling or still pretty awesome?
No, it was. I think he was even more awesome because this time I knew that I was going to go somewhere. I had a good idea I was going to be drafted. I thought I was going a little bit earlier than I did, but hey, it all worked out the way it was supposed to. But I ended up going the second day. I was in the first round of the second day. I was like the 6th pick, I think, of the second day, and found out I'd been drafted by Cleveland, who had also taken 3 or 4 other guys from the University of Nevada years prior. So I had some good scouting on the organization, and really I kind of grew up there. They kind of helped me become a man, and going to college I think really helped me just experience-wise. But you grow up, you learn how to be away from mom and dad. You get to pro ball and you're with some kids, some 16, 17-year-old kids that have never been away from their mom and dad. They don't even know how to do their laundry.
Got to be a good influence.
Yeah, so at least I knew how to do my laundry, which is a big plus in the minor leagues. But I mean, obviously, it's one of those experiences. I was my own agent. I didn't have an agent at the time, so I negotiated my own contract, which I'm not very good at, because he asked. The first thing they asked was, "How much will it take for you to sign?" I said, "Well, I'll sign right now."
Whatever,
and that's
dude.
probably not the greatest thing to say.
I said that to Tom.
Yeah,
Tom
yeah.
behind the camera here. I said that to him too.
I'm
so.
fine with no agents,
Yeah.
man.
So as a big leaguer, though, do you guys pay attention to it at all? Even just one eye on it? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like with the number one
Absolutely.
pick, I suppose probably kind of blows that up. You got a
Right,
former number one pick
right.
that is right next to your
Yeah,
locker here.
we actually just had a really cool conversation about, his draft experience.
Yeah.
The scout that drafted him is now our field coordinator, minor league field coordinator.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of picked his brain on what'd you see in this guy? Like, he doesn't even look that cool.
Didn't even have the
why-
sideburns yet.
Yeah, right. Why draft him?
Had his pole all the way
Yeah,
buttoned
Mark Pryor, Teixeira. I mean,
Yeah.
those guys.
DeJuan
didn't-
Brazel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe we
talk
won't go there.
We won't go down
We
that
won't go
road.
there, but
So I got to ask you, Jay Jaffe wrote an article about you pitching 4 times this year already. Do you like attention on this, or is it just like, man, I'm just doing my job?
I mean, I really don't care. Secretly, I think it's probably a lot more fun in my head than I play it out to be. But I got word of, I guess the Major League record for appearances in 1 year is 7, and now that's kind of a secret
You got
goal
the
that
itch?
I might have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Molly ever tries to throw anybody else, I'm going to be upset. And Eddie's been working on me with a knuckleball. So
Oh,
I
what?
wanted-
I'm trying to add a new pitch to my repertoire.
What was
So
it
I
like? Well, no.
I got 68 to 82, and then maybe a knuckleball.
You can
was
throw
it?
an ephus.
Yeah, you can
ephus.
throw an
Yeah,
ephus,
yeah.
What was it like throwing to Esky? Were you giving him tips on framing and everything?
I have to admit, that was
He's like my favorite guy. in the
kind
team
of the
as far as
blind leading the
personality.
blind, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. It was actually quite comical, but I give him a lot of credit, man. He, that's not the easiest position to do, whether it's me pitching or obviously a real pitcher pitching. I'm glad it was me throwing first as opposed to him having to catch an actual real pitcher. Kind of break him in easily, I guess you could say, but it was kind of fun. He actually he did a good job, man. I told Castro, I said, you might be out as my personal catcher. It might be out from here on out.
Well, I tweeted while you were on the mound, I need to see some framing metrics for this.
Yeah,
guy.
right? Because he actually
He's
held
like-
he held a couple of balls.
He's
there.
like, he's really getting into it, which is funny.
There was one I thought was 100% a strike, and I got balled up, and I wasn't too pleased when I caught the ball back. I'm like, hey,
Who in here would you most like to catch from a position player standpoint? Is it Esky? Because he threw
100%, 100%.
There's no.
There really is nobody else I would rather catch. I mean, if I was going to catch a position player, it would 100% be.
So you gave up a warning track fly ball. Was
I
it
did.
Seager?
Seager,
And
yes.
so you're doing this, and I couldn't tell if you were telling him to hit the weight room or maybe an obscene gesture or whatever.
No, it was definitely. I looked at him and I said, "No pop," and I said, "Hit the weights."
And he heard you.
He heard me. Yeah. He was actually. I played with him there in 2011.
Yeah.
He was one of my best friends on the team there, so we
was
always
good.
like to joke around with each other. He got a kick out of it, and I guess it kind of. My wife told me it's kind of gone a little viral.
Really?
I guess.
It-
Yeah, on the
it's
internet,
been out
so.
there.
You're gonna start doing like gifts and
Yeah,
like
I'm
they'll
gonna
put
be
in the
doing
auto tune.
weightlifting gifts. I should have got on there and said like squat for or something.
Well, she's a fitness guru too, right?
Yes,
so
she is.
she's like, oh man,
She's
you're
in the
repping her
fitness
too.
world. Yeah, I'm repping her too. It'd be great.
We'll touch on that in another show. Your repertoire, though, you threw. So the first time you pitched, you're throwing a little harder. Have you just changed it up, or you
No,
started?
I learned from my mistakes. Let's put it that way. The first time I threw in 2014, I actually tried to be a pitcher. I tried to hump it up a little bit, and I thought I needed Tommy John and shoulder surgery for the next.
The
like,
Jose,
6
what is the
days.
Jose Canseco thing? Did he get hurt when he pitched?
He did, yeah. He did. And I tried to like throw hard and not as hard as I could, but I tried to like give it a little bit, and I hit 87 3 times, I think.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I knew I had more in the tank, but I also, my fingers were tingling and numb, and I felt like I better just tone it down. So, and the fact that my entire like back strap and my elbow and shoulder hurt for the next 4 days, I figured the next time I was going to do it, I was just going to throw as slow as possible, so that way I could survive the next day.
So you've played in some analytically inclined organizations, and that's not always been a big thing here. Now, this is obviously your first season, but where do you put this front office as far as organizations with analytics that you've played for? If you were to rank them, are they pretty close?
Yes. I had both of the 2 leaders of this new organization, Texas and Cleveland.
As we said on the last show, they traded you
They traded me back and forth to each other twice, so I have a pretty good feel for both of those guys.
Yeah.
But I would definitely put them in the top 5 of the list. They do a very, very good job of integrating the old school thought process with a little bit more of the new school kind of StatCast era stuff. You know, they're very analytical about the way they go about things, whether it be spending money, trying to get the most value for the money that's spent, how we position guys in the field. They've done the work. They've started to bring in some of the personnel to kind of get that advanced scouting department a little bit more well-equipped, I think, than it was with the previous regime, which I was not here for.
You were very complimentary on the last time we chatted, not on the show, about Jeff Pickler's role in all that.
I could not be more appreciative of what he's done for us this year. He's really come in. He came in from the Dodgers, being a special advisor.
You want to copy that organization, man?
Yes.
Except for the money, I guess.
I actually, we don't have that. Not too many teams do.
No.
I actually have had both of the people running the Dodgers were with me in Tampa, or I was with them in Tampa.
Yeah, Mr. Freeman.
So I know their analytics very well as well. But the fact that they considered him in LA to be the baseball guy. And here he's considered the stat guy. So it's kind of funny how the 2 organizations differ so much. But he's really brought a ton of advanced reports to us. He's taken mine and Jason's input on scouting reports, and we've kind of created our own to model and mold what we like to see the best. He's incorporated Jared Hefner now as an advanced scout.
Former Met,
who is in there, poor guy's in the hole all day, like never sees the light of day, and he's getting paler by the moment.
I was gonna make a joke, but you got the equity. I can't. You can make that joke. I can't make that joke. So you got all kinds of tools.
All kinds of tools, yes, at our exposure.
Speaking of
analytics,
analytics,
I think it's helped.
Speaking of analytics, that's the last one we got. We talked about pitch framing, and you said that you think it means a lot.
Yeah.
Do you guys, as catchers, you and Castro, prefer calling it pitch framing, receiving? Because you don't want to make it sound like you should be working at Dick Blick,
right?
framing pictures for people, but at the same time, it is what it is. What do you prefer, and then what do you think the actual value is of it?
Well, I'll tell you what, the value could be exponential. It could be something that's really not quantified, to be honest with you. If you've got somebody back there that is just not taking strikes away from you, strictly not taking strikes away from you, your pitching staff's going to be exponentially better. If you've got a guy back there that can not take strikes away from you and get you a couple extra, it might just happen to be that one extra one, if they get one a game, that one extra one's bases loaded, 2 outs, full count, and he throws a ball 6 inches outside, we ring him up, or to start that inning off. If we get a full count or a 2-2 pitch that's borderline close, now you go 3-2, now you have to come to the heart of the plate and the guy hits a 3-run homer or something like that. Like that's a part where that's really kind of a big deal. And the one thing that's fun with our pitching staff is we don't have a lot of guys on our staff that have a lot of swing and miss stuff. Right. So numbers wise, it's gonna kind of appear a little different. We have guys that when we do hit spots, we're going to need those extra few inches because we don't have that swing and miss curve.
Yeah, it's not the McCullers, the Keitels, the McHughes, the Fears of the world.
The Klubers, the Bowers,
Salazars. You could go all day with those guys.
Exactly. So we're not necessarily equipped right now with that kind of stuff. So we need to try to get those extra corner pitches as best as possible, or the low pitches. That way it really boosts our pitching staff up. And knowing that, hey, consistently we can throw this ball in this spot and we're going to get called a strike is going to help us out as opposed to having to throw the ball more in the middle part of the plate. And then, like I said, we don't have swing and miss stuff. And that's when things start to get banged around, and that's probably when I end up pitching.
That's Chris Gimenez. I'm Brandon Warren. We've been catching up with the catcher.
Right.
Thanks, man.
You bet.
We'll get you on the next homestand on the Midwest Swing Podcast.